Daf Yomi Tractate Bava Metzia, page 2b, top of the page. And it said Tzricha, it was necessary. Now we're on the top of 2b, with De'i Tana Metzia Hava Amina. As had the Tana taught the case of a found item alone, I would say that it is only in the case of a found item that the sages impose an oath upon him, as in that case one can rationalize his actions and say, the other party, the one who in fact found the item, is not losing anything by not keeping all of it, as it was not his to begin with. I will go to seize it from him and divide it with him. But in the case of buying and selling, where that cannot be said, say that the sages did not impose an oath upon him. And had the Tana taught the case of buying and selling alone, one might say that it is specifically in this case that the sages imposed an oath upon him, because he could rationalize his actions, saying to himself, the other party gave money to the seller, and I gave money to the seller. Now that I need it for myself, I will take it, and will let the other one go to the trouble to buy another item like the first item. But in the case of a found item, where that item cannot be said, say that the sages did not suspect that he seized an item that did not belong to him, and therefore there is no need to impose an oath upon him. Therefore, both cases are necessary. Gemara asks, how can the Mishnah be referring to a case of buying and selling? But let us see from whom the seller took the money. Obviously, the one who gave him the money is the one who bought it. The Gemara answers, no, it is necessary in a case where he took money from both of them. He accepted the money willingly from the one to whom he wanted to sell the item, and he received the money against his will from the one to whom he did not want to sell the item, and I do not know who is the one from whom he took it willingly, and who is the one from whom he received it against his will. Consequently, the matter is clarified by means of an oath. The Gemara suggests, let us say that the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of Ben Nanas, as if it were in accordance with the opinion of Ben Nanas. Doesn't he say that an oath is not administered to two parties in court when one of them is certainly lying? As it is stated in the Mishnah in Shavuot 45a, with regard to a case where a man said to his laborer, go to the storekeeper and he will give you food in lieu of your salary. And sometime later the laborer claimed that the storekeeper did not give him anything, while the storekeeper claimed that he did. The rabbis say the storekeeper and the laborer must each take an oath to support their claims, and the employer must pay them both. Ben Nanas says in response, how can you allow these people, that is the laborer and these people, in other words the storekeeper, to come and take an oath in vain, since one of them is definitely lying? The sages would not impose the taking of an oath that by definition must be false. Similarly, in the case of the Mishnah here, since the found item is divided between the parties, in any case, according to the opinion of Ben Nanas, they should receive their portions without taking an oath. The Gemara rejects this suggestion. It is even possible for you to say that the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Ben Nanas. There, in the case of the laborer and the storekeeper, an oath is certainly taken in vain, as it is clear that one of them is lying. Here, there is room to say that there is no oath taken in vain. Say that they are both taking an oath truthfully, as they lifted the item together, and therefore each of them owns half of it. In this case, Ben Nanas would agree that they both take an oath. The Gemara suggests further, let us say that the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of Sumchus, as if it were in accordance with the opinion of Sumchus, doesn't he say the following principle? In a case of property of uncertain ownership, the parties divide it without taking an oath. The Gemara rejects this suggestion. Rather, what opinion does the Mishnah follow? Does the Mishnah follow the opinion of the rabbis who disagree with Sumchus? Don't they say that in a case of property of uncertain ownership, the burden of proof rests upon the claimant? In the case of the Mishnah, neither side offers proof. The Gemara answers, what is this comparison? Granted, if you say that the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, there is room to distinguish between two cases. There, in the case of property of uncertain ownership, where both parties are not grasping the property, the rabbis say that the burden of proof rests upon the claimant, since the one with possession of the property ostensibly has the right to that property. Here, in the case of the Mishnah, where both are grasping the property and neither has exclusive possession of the item, they divide it with the proviso that they take an oath. The Gemara continues to state its proof that the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of Sumchus. But if you say that the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Sumchus, how do you resolve the following contradiction? Now, if they're in a case where they are not both grasping the property, they nevertheless divide it without taking an oath. Here, where they are both grasping the property, is it not all the more so that they should divide it without taking an oath? The Gemara rejects this suggestion. You may even say that the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Sumchus. When Sumchus states that in a case of property of uncertain ownership, the parties divide it without taking an oath, that is in the case of an uncertain claim and an uncertain claim. With the Shema, or Aval Bari Lo. But in the case of certain claim and a certain claim, where each party states definitively that he is entitled to the property, Sumchus does not say that they divide the property without taking an oath. The Gemara asks, and according to the opinion of Rabba bar Rav Huna, who said that Sumchus says that even in a case of a certain claim and a certain claim, meaning a positive claim and a positive claim, the parties divide the property without an oath. What is there to say to establish the Mishnah in accordance to the opinion of Sumchus? The Gemara answers, you may even say that the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Sumchus. When Sumchus says that the property of uncertain ownership is divided, he is referring to a case where the litigants have a financial association with the item independent of their claims to it. But where the litigants do not have a financial association with the item beyond their claims, they do not divide it without taking an oath. The Gemara asks, but is it not a kal v'chomer, an a fortiori inference? If they're in a case where this master has a financial association with the item, and that master has a financial association with the item, and we shall continue on the next daf. Stay tuned.